will all of these overnight cues impact our own markets? We have our research team joining in with how the trade setup looks like and the stocks that are likely to be in focus this morning. First up, Vinny joins us to get us all the market cues we need to watch out for. Vinny, good morning. A tinge of caution this morning. What's the trade setup looking like?
Good morning, Horma. So we are keeping an eye out, and a caution start is what we're expecting. A bit of a muted start for the Indian markets. Now, yesterday what we saw was a very volatile day that actually came in for the Nifty. At one point of time, it was trading comfortably in the green, and then we saw that fall coming in the second half of the trading session. So volatile Monday came in, bit of Monday blues that you could say for the Nifty, because it managed to close with cuts of around 6 points, so down 0.03%. So very flat close that came in for the Nifty. Not much of an excitement. What dragged it was Asian Paints. The numbers that came in from the company was weak. M&M, Britannia, Apollo Hospital, Cipla, all of them were dragging the Nifty 50. Nifty Bank, on the other hand, that saw a bit of an outperformance coming in. It snapped its two-day losing streak, and what led to the gains for Nifty Bank was ICICI Bank, Axis Bank, and HDFC Bank. So these top private banks were something that was buzzing in trade. So keep an eye out on Nifty Bank today and how that is going to be performing. Will that momentum sustain for Nifty Bank is something to watch out for. FII continues to sell around 31 sessions that we've seen that FIIs have been selling, while DIIs have actually been net buyers this time. So that has continued as a trend. So we will be watching out more in terms of the flows that come in from the FII front. Obviously, we'll have to watch out for listing day today. We are watching out for Sigality, which is listing today. We have earnings reactions that will be coming in from Britannia, NMDC, Hindalco, as well as Shree Cement, Hindustan Copper, I beg your pardon, as well as Shree Cement. And earnings today that we're watching out for, MedPlus. We have Samvardhana Motherson, Natco Pharma among some of the earnings that we should keep an eye out on. But a muted start, what we are expecting for the Indian markets.
We'll see if that muted start sustains as well. Vinny, thanks a lot for that. Over to Upasana now, who will list out the stocks to watch out for this morning. Upasana, good morning. What's on your list?
Good morning. First up, let me start with Hindalco. After Novelis' disappointment, India business does well, and revenue is up about 7.7% on a Y-on-Y basis. EBITDA margin stood at 12.3%. versus 8.3% on a Y-on-Y basis. Now coming to ONGC, the revenue was down about 4% and margin stood at 50.3%, slightly below the CNBC poll estimate of 51.7%. Next up is Shree Cement. Despite top-line miss, numbers were broadly in line with expectations. Margin stood at 15.9% while we were working with a poll of 15.9% itself. Next up is Britannia. Company reported a good revenue growth, but EBITDA misses the estimates. Company has reported a 8% volume growth versus expected range of 8 to 9%, and margin stood at 16.8% versus the poll of 18.9%. Now, Ramco Cements will also be in focus. EBITDA beats the estimates. EBITDA margin stood at 15.8% versus the poll estimate of 12.6%. NMDC will also be in focus. Top line a little higher, but margins overall a miss. Revenue stood at 4,918 crore versus the poll of 4,681 crores. Margin stood at 21.2% versus poll of 35.7%. Hindustan Copper will also be in focus as the company's reported in numbers. Revenue up 36% on a Y-on-Y basis. Margin stood at 29.3% versus 31.7%. Bank of India overall has reported a mixed set of numbers. NII is up about 4% on a Y-on-Y basis and down 4.6% sequentially. Jubilant Foodworks will also be in focus. Results are largely in line. Margins stood at 19.4% versus the poll of 19.5%. And lastly, L&T Technology will also be in focus as companies signed a definitive agreement to acquire IntelliSwift for $110 million. So all these stocks will remain in focus today.
Keep an eye out on all of them. Upasana, thanks a lot for that. Lastly, Mangalam joins in with cues from the F&O space. Mangalam, good morning. Just not able to sustain at higher levels, isn't it, the Nifty?
Well, it's not able to sustain at higher levels, but the good part is that, it is finding support at lower levels as well. And yesterday, the two batters did extremely well for the index, and that I'm talking about the Nifty Bank and the Nifty IT. So both of them come up for you along with the Nifty. The Nifty was absolutely flat, but look at the Nifty IT up 1.3%. The Nifty Bank as well led from the front with a gain of almost 2/3%. The Nifty Bank in yesterday's trading session crossed past the 20-day moving average and found some resistance at the 50-day moving average. So that's something we'll be watching out for starters. And the Nifty IT index itself crossed the 50-day moving average. So with all of this and a positive start for the GIFT Nifty, one feels a little better about the markets in this week than they felt in the last week itself. The only fly in the ointment is the broader markets. The advanced decline ratio yesterday worsened towards the second half of trade, with nearly 1,800 stocks declining for about 750 stocks which were advancing itself. But the good part, the FII selling abated a little bit. From that 4,000, 5,000 crore daily selling, the FII sold about 2,300 crore in cash, matched dollar to dollar by the DIIs, and they also bought a few long positions in index futures. Nothing really to write home about, just a 335 crore purchase, but it isn't excessive selling here as well. They're still 75% short, 25% long, so that's something we'll keep an eye out on. At lower levels, the 24,000 put writers have been pretty active, as have the 24,100 put writers, telling you that around 23,950 to 24,000, there would be support for the frontline index. On the way up, however, upwards of 24,350 and 24,450, where we saw supply yesterday, could continue to be a bit of a congestion zone. For the market to come out of its current sell-on rally sort of mode, the Nifty has to formidably cross both the 20 as well as the 50-day moving averages. We'll keep an eye out on that. Also watch out for the financial services index. Today is the financial services expiry, the penultimate expiry for the financial services after, it expires next Tuesday. And we'll keep an eye out on Aarti Industries and Hindustan Copper, both those stocks in F&O band.
Mangalam, thanks a lot for that. Some important levels to keep an eye out for on the Nifty on the financial services expiry day.